welcome to another episode of The Billy Ho Show. Now, when I was a boy, Zig-Zag papers, here we go, Zig-Zag papers, everybody smoked, everybody and his dog smoked, and Zig-Zag papers was when you rolled your own, so you got yourself a paper and you put the cigarette in it and you rolled it up and then you stuck it in your gob. And back in the time, if you only half finished your cigarette, you sort of stuck it in your ear. And a lot of guys who rolled their own, for some reason, got halfway through and then it went out, but we just sat in the corner in their gob and one was walking his bloody cigarettes going up and down as they talk. But anyway, that's long gone now, of course, but back in the day, roll your owns were the way to go. But I found this packet of cigarettes. You can see it's a bit bongy, but this was underneath the seat of one of the old trucks we were looking at the other day. And I thought, oh, I remember Zig-Zag papers. And Zig-Zag basically started in 1850 or thereabouts, the company that makes them. And in 1900 they had this way of doing things. So they all string together when they pack these things. And so it was as you can see, it's a bit of a zigzaggy shape. And so that's why they called them Zig-Zag papers, because of the zigzag way they got packed, which is interesting. And in about 1920 they got an award in Paris because Zig-Zag is a French company. I didn't know that, but anyway, so Zig-Zag's a French company. They got an award for at one of the demo places of the time, and they got a gold award for their cigarette papers. The other thing you did with cigarette papers when I was a kid was you had a comb, and you sort of put the cigarette paper on the other side of it, and the guitar going. And you had a wooden box with a stick on it and a string, and it was pull it backwards and forwards and made the bassy sort of a sound. And you had the washboard from the wash house, and rinky-ticky-ticky-ticky-ticky. And so you could find all sorts of things to make music with, including one of these. I don't know if I can do it or not, but no. No. But anyway, it made a vibrating sound with a cigarette paper and a comb. I'm sure some of you remember doing that. But anyway, we're going to go to Taupo now, and we're going to talk to Mike, who has a great collection of trucks that were around about the time that these things got going, 1900, and his trucks are from about 1900 to 1926. So he has quite a number of them. So let's go to Taupo and talk to Mike. So with me is Mike, and Mike, welcome to our little show.
Yes.
And you've got a collection of, well, I have to say about 1920 backwards.
Yes, yeah.
And we'll start off with this model here.
Yeah.
Maybe you can just describe this to us, what it is.
It's a 1926 XA Pierce Arrow 2-ton truck. Pierce Arrow, yeah.
I thought they only made cars.
That's what I thought too, but they made trucks for World War One. I always wanted to find one for World War One, but I found this one.
Yep.
I found a chassis actually in Hastings, and then I found this one online. I ended up buying it.
Wee.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be on solids, but it's been converted to take pneumatic tyres.
Yeah.
But I have got the correct solids for it. It's taken me quite a while to find them.
Solids in 1926?
Yeah. It's about the changeover period. Mid-20s is about the changeover period.
Right.
And Pierce Arrow made a quality car, and I believe the truck was quality too, they reckon.
Yeah,
so,
well, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, and it's got twin ignition on it, so
really?
Which is quite something for back in the day, I think, for a truck anyway.
I think they had those on fire engines, didn't they?
Yes,
mainly?
yes, yeah.
In case something happened, you can sort of go to plan B.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the controls here, the steering wheel. You've got a couple of adjusting arms.
Yep. You've got one for the spark and one for the accelerator, and you've got a foot accelerator as well. Was missing that gear stick change as well. I found that from a collector in the States, on the eastern states in Massachusetts. He was scrapping one of these, so I managed to get that piece and the front wheels and the light brackets and a couple other little bits and pieces for it. So.
Right. Yeah. This is a big brake, big clutch.
Yep, everything's big on it.
And it's on the right-hand side, just like they normally are.
Yeah.
I think the British have them in the, or had them in the...
I think the British, some of them had the accelerator in the middle, didn't they?
In the middle. Yeah. And some didn't have accelerator at all. It was just on the on the steering wheel. So the gauges, we've got some amps.
Yeah.
Oil, is it? Oil, here we are, oil.
Yeah, you've got an air pressure one because that's for pumping up you put pressure into the fuel tank to pressurise it because it's under the seat. Cause it is gravity, but it needs to be assisted, you know. So,
sure.
Yeah.
So that's that.
Yeah.
We saw an electric, a steam truck.
Yeah.
Which gauges and pressure thingies and all the rest of it. It's all about the pressure.
It is, yeah.
But it's just,
it only puts like a pound in there apparently. It's not
right,
like, yeah,
and
it's all it needs.
The fuses?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
just at first glance, you'd think that was where the radio went.
You would actually. Yeah. You would think that. So, yeah. But it's got the two coils on the firewall there. See, Bill?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you got two coils there. I mean, I'm not an expert on the electrical stuff, but this is one of the few ones I've got that's got a distributor in it. You know,
So
instead of a magneto.
So it's 4 cylinders.
Yeah, it's a 4-cylinder.
And eight of these.
Yeah, 8 spark plugs. Got eight distributor leads coming off it, so twin spark.
And that's the oil filler.
Yeah, oil filler. And they even give you a little gauze. The oil must have been really dirty in those days. Everything has a gauze. And it's got an air clean actually.
Oh, that's unusual.
Yeah. And coming from America, they have a hot and cold start on them. As I was saying, there's a tube that comes through the actual cylinder, through the block, that picks up the heat off here. It's your air cleaner, your intake. So you can adjust the hot air, for cold climates, so it's going into the carburetor. Yeah. So there's your adjustment there. Got the notches to adjust it. Air cleaner there, which is pretty flash for a truck, really, even then, I suppose.
I'll say.
Yeah.
And is that an oil filter? What is that?
I think that's that is a fuel,
fuel.
a bit like an autovac type thing. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. It is hooked up to the fuel line. It's about 4.9 litres, I think, this motor. So it's a fairly big engine for a truck. The American ones seem to be more horsepower than the English ones. Yeah.
And all the fins like this, the Republic. So that's what I thought this might be, with having all the fins.
It's pretty similar to a Republic. Yeah. The fins are just a bit heavier. Yeah. But that was the smallest truck they made, and it's actually the long wheelbase model. They made a short wheelbase model as well.
Wow. So you've got eight coming out of that.
Yeah.
And the material is pretty much what they...
Yeah, it's the same. I believe it's the same. I've got spares of these at home. I've only just managed to find these spare caps for this thing from a guy in Chicago who's got one. And it's just a rotor and a cap, just like any other distributor, yeah. So I've got a fully reconditioned one of these, so this will become a spare one. I think I've got 3 of these and a couple of rotors to go for it. And I've even got some spare gauges that came with it, because that truck was being scrapped as well. Yep. He had a spare one, so yeah. There's a few of them in America, and there's a few in Europe, but yeah, they're not that easy to find, I suppose. Yeah.
I expected this to do that, not go.
Oh yeah, I've got the side panels for it. I've got original side panels here.
Oh, I'm just saying the bonnet, most of them
yeah. Well, the guys that developed this truck went on to develop the Halford, which is an English truck, had the same sloping bonnet.
Oh, okay.
They were built for World War One.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mike, there's one of these down near Riverton, down the bottom of the South Island.
Yeah, told me.
It's a white. It's got a C cab and a sort of bulletproof lifting device. Big worm drive thing.
Yeah.
So this is the same truck, maybe.
Yeah. It probably is close. It's a white Model TC 5-ton truck, 1918. This one, and they got a 45 horsepower engine, and they're chain drive. And this like I say, is the long wheelbase version. The dump trucks were a bit shorter apparently. Right. They did make a lot of dump trucks white. So yeah, this one come from California. I bought this years ago.
Wow.
That was going to be scrapped actually, so I think I saved it. You know what I mean? So, yeah. It had a big winch on it, and they were using it to winch stuff up onto building sites on high-rise buildings. And the guy had taken the winch off it and was advertising this. So
So I'm just
Yeah.
looking, is that the, oh no, I'm looking wrong.
It's a lost oil system.
Yeah, total lost oil.
Total lost oil, yeah. Oil goes in here, and at the end of the day, I suppose, you're supposed to pull this lever here and drain the oil
Oh, okay.
into a bucket,
Into a drum or bucket
your
or
own bucket or your own pourer,
You reuse it.
and put it back in there, yeah. So yeah, the Albion had the same system. Yeah, I bet they blew a lot of motors up.
Wow.
Yeah.
But 1918 it's all new. Guys are coming up with different ideas every
Yes.
week. Just about,
Yeah.
I would have thought.
Yeah, there was a lot of development, eh? White was pretty big on keeping their design stayed like this for quite a long time, you know.
Yeah.
A few things changed. This is the last year they had the brass radiator. They went to a steel one from 1919 onwards,
Right.
and they got rid of chain drive in 1919, yeah.
Sorry. I'm just looking at the. So this is, and that's the.
Yep, that's a handbrake, and that's your gear stick, yeah.
That's the.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
push
called
the button.
I think they call it progressive gear change. It just see it's all
Yeah.
it is straight, but it does come across.
Right. So it's like the old gate gears in
Yeah,
some of the
yeah.
trucks we've seen.
Yeah, see it can go that side, come this side. Yeah, it's just like that. Yeah, yeah.
That's amazing.
It's a 4-speed, and it's got a reverse. So.
And the flywheel.
Yep, it's got like a cone-like type clutch in it. You know,
Yeah.
a fabric clutch. I don't know whether they're leather, but I haven't actually opened one. But it's that type of material.
Most
yeah,
of them
most of them are.
leather.
Yeah,
So the Leylands were certainly leather.
yeah.
Yeah, let's have a look at the back end. So you can, God, those springs.
Well, it's got massive springs on it. Eh?
Absolutely massive. There's a sprocket for the chain. There's a drive off that.
Yep, there's no drive sprocket on there. There's one on here, see? I've got a whole lot of spares with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and White was one of the few that went to steel wheels. A lot of them had wooden wheels, a lot of American stuff. And the chassis is all hot riveted together as well.
Look at the size of those springs.
That's what you see on a Kenworth, eh? They're
Huge. So 5 ton, but they might want to put 7 or 10 on it.
oh, you probably
The guys who thought
you
about
could
this.
put 20 on it probably. Yeah, it's a pretty heavy chassis. It's a tapered RSJ.
Oh.
And like I say, it's all riveted together.
So is that a braking? You can brake
Yep,
that?
yep. That's your brake. That's your foot brake on there. So that's what they call a jack shaft brake.
Wow.
And it still works. I mean, it actually opens and closes.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's just connected to a lever up the side that goes to the foot brake via linkages here. And the handbrake operates shoe brakes on the back.
Really?
Yeah.
No brakes in the front.
No brakes in the
No,
front.
Americans were like that, even with their Kenworths, you know, their new Kenworths, they didn't
Yeah.
like put brakes on the front because when you're going through the ice and snow, it
Oh,
sort of
okay.
locks it
Yeah.
up and you go into a slide
Yeah.
and then you're in trouble.
Yeah. A lot of English ones were the same. Early ones had no front brakes.
And then they come here and the people who register you and make these things, you've got to have
Yeah.
a front brake on. So,
Yeah.
oh shit, where are we going to find a front brake? There's never been one.
Never ever been one. No. I couldn't imagine trying to stop this if it had 10 ton on it.
Mind you, this is probably only going 12, 14, 15 miles an hour.
I think it was rated to 12 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
so-
yeah.
Not very fast.
Not very fast, no. And that's 4th gear, and it's got 4 gears.
Fair enough. Tell me what this is, Mike.
This is a USA Liberty truck.
Do you know why it was called a Liberty truck?
Well, what I've read is that it just got the nickname from the soldiers.
Well, the time.
Yeah, because they were built for the US Army.
Yes.
From 1917 to 1919, basically.
So just one factory built them, or were they?
No, these were the first standardised truck you could buy, you know, like that were made in the world for the US Army under a patent or whatever you call it,
Right.
you know, a design. So they had 15 different companies building these trucks
And
for
they're all
World War One.
building the exact same thing.
Yeah, they built by the end of the war they built 9,500
Good God.
Liberty trucks. Really? But by the time the war finished and they kept building them, obviously there was a total of about 17,000 built.
In 1917, I don't think they'd invented welding. Everything was cast and riveted.
A lot of it's cast and riveted, yeah.
Yeah, so you just see rivets here holding on the big spring
Yep.
hangers and
Yeah.
the odd bolt here and there.
Yeah.
And there's a spring on that one.
That's so that can move a bit. See,
Oh,
it's got a bit of rubber under it or a bit of fabric. So the flexing of the chassis, that's why they went away from brass radiators and went to cast steel. The flexing would crack the brass, so most of them ended up going to a cast steel radiator.
Big pot, 4 cylinders.
It's a big engine. It's 52 horsepower. Yeah,
52 horsepower.
Massive engine. Massive.
And they just cover up.
Yep, they just come off. That's just, you can see the valves in there.
Yeah.
And typical cast and pairs, that's what a lot of them were in the time, you know.
Wow. So we're off to war on one of these.
Yep.
Something to hang on to here to climb up.
Apparently they could fit, I've got pictures of them, they used to have upwards to 5 soldiers across the front seat.
Really?
So there was quite a big wooden seat that came out to about here. So there was one on the inside of the driver, if you know what I mean, and then the driver, and then you have 3 more.
Wow.
And they were used for troop carrying and carting ammo and that sort of thing.
Something to hang on to climb up there?
Yeah.
So we're not far past horse and cart, so...
Not really, no, not really.
No. And this is to hold the...
That holds a fuel tank, yeah. I've had that off so I could get the fuel cap recast.
So this would have to be a bit bulletproof, wouldn't it?
I don't think it is. No.
Bullet through, boom.
No, it's only about 2 mil or something. Yeah.
Wow. And the gear stick, is that like the other one, sort of click?
No, it's more standard H pattern, yeah.
Right. The handbrake next to it?
Yeah. Handbrake does the same, it actuates to the back wheels, and the foot brake goes to different shoes on the back wheels.
Wow.
It's got a setup for the foot brake and a setup for the handbrake on the rear wheels only.
And the
pretty
gearbox
standard.
sort of set, is that the
No,
gearbox?
yeah, that's the gearbox. Doesn't have a card and shaft, no, just a straight gearbox, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. This one was cut in half. I got 2 of these. This one was on top of the other one, stacked up, going to go to China. So, again, I thought, why not?
Why not?
Yeah. You don't find these every day.
No.
Don't know why I do. Yeah. But
so you've got a fair bit of work in front of you.
I have. I'm going to have to live to be 150.
Yeah, 150. Yeah,
At
like
least,
a lot of guys.
yeah. Yeah, I'm guilty of that, all right.
Yeah. So we're on solids? Here we are.
Yeah, all on solids, yeah. You come with, later on in the war they went to steel wheels, but the original ones came out with wooden wheels. There's one of each over there. I've got a set of each, wooden and steel. So when I'm hoping to do 2 of these, and I'll have one on the wood and one on the steel.
Awesome. Yeah. Mike, just looking at this, it has this Packard shape to it, sort of.
Yeah.
You know, all their cars had that grille on the front.
That was their sort of trademark, that shape on the grille.
So it is a Packard?
It's a 1915 Model D Packard.
Oh yeah, of course it is. There it says on the box.
Yeah, and these were only made for 1 year, and they were 3-speed. And I believe the French Army had bought a lot of these, and that's why they're quite hard to find a Model D. The Model E was a more common one. So it's a 3-ton truck.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the handbrake and the gear stick are outside?
On the outside, yeah.
So you're sitting in your seat and there's the gear stick.
It's all outside,
and
yeah.
it's a C cab, so you
Yep, yeah, they call it outboard.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
They call it outboard when it's there.
Right.
That's a Model E engine up there, sitting on the back.
Yep.
And see, it's got the gear stick in the normal place. So that'll be from 1916 onwards, yeah.
Wow. I'm just looking at this wheel, how it's sort of wood and steel.
Yeah, wooden spoke, and it's got a hubbo on it, this one here.
Really?
It's got so you know when to do an oil change, and yeah. The Liberty trucks had hubbos as well.
Right.
Yeah, it's quite common for the... And these actually came out with electric lights. You've got a generator there. Yep. It's got a fancy name on it, Bajur or something, a generator system, made for Packard, I believe. I haven't got the electric lights, I've only got oil lights for it. But it's a 32 horsepower engine.
The binnacle, that looks like it's come out of a 1960-61 ergomatic Leyland.
I haven't seen a complete one, but it's something to do with the light switches. It has indicator lights on the side of it, and there's 3 levers up there, and I know one's for spark and one's for one's for the throttle, but I think the spark one's been separated. You've got the retard and a advanced.
So you can really tune it.
So you can really tune it up, I suppose. Yeah. I haven't worked out why that's on there.
And I see the brake, clutch, accelerator, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
That's amazing. little taps, little.
Yeah, those are little winding oil greases to wind grease into your thrust bearing.
Oh, okay.
You wind that, and
Yeah,
that puts
yeah.
grease into the thrust bearing there. It's a multi-plate clutch. Yeah, so it's a whole lot of plates, and it has a bearing at the end. Yeah,
And that keeps the oil going.
yeah. You just will give that a turn every day, I suppose. Yeah.
It's
But
amazing.
I have got the big brass radiator for it, but like I said, I've taken it off because it's just I can't afford to get it damaged 'cause it's worth more than the truck.
Sure. That's unbelievable. So this is 1915 and
19
the technology starting
Yep.
to sort of get ahead of itself.
Yeah, yeah. It's sort of, they've still got wooden wheels, obviously, but they're starting to get electric lights. And these were being an upmarket truck. That was probably one of their sales gimmicks, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
You had electric lights.
Decent set of springs there.
Yeah. It's a long wheelbase model. It's very long. There's about 6 feet missing off the back of it.
And it goes all the way back here.
Yep.
Yeah.
All the way back here.
Is that a planetary diff?
Yep.
Yeah. God.
And from there is apparently another roughly 6 feet of chassis goes out the back.
Really?
Yeah, so it's a very long chassis.
We're right back here to
About
the end
there,
of
yep.
the truck.
That's where it's supposed to go to, yeah.
Good.
And they all cut them off behind the rear spring hanger mounts. I don't know why. This one's got a piece of railway iron welded into the back of it. But it would have worked hard on a farm, I'd say.
Yeah, and it's run by a diff. So that'll be one of the first. Oh, when did the diff?
I think, well, the worm drive diff, I believe, was Dennis Brothers,
Oh,
I think,
okay.
invented it or patented it. Yeah.
Wow.
It's got massive hubs on it.
Yeah,
That's
look
it.
at that.
That's the way you can identify them, is the hubs are just so huge on them, eh?
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I see you've got a Rio parked outside. Can we go and have a look at that?
Yes, you can have a look at the rear. Yeah.
There you go, folks. This is absolutely history. Not particularly New Zealand history, but it's still world history of trucks right here. Milburn Lime, every time. Milburn Lime, available all over the Southland district and beyond. Top grade lime that's been available year after year. Call them on 03 417 8228. The next time you need lime, think Milburn Lime, every time. What we've got here, folks, is a Rio. And you might remember the show we did with Calvin Shedaway. And his father bought one of these brand new in Auckland, and they took it home and worked the hell out of it.
Yeah, that's what's happened to this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But his was a speed wagon. I think it had a Gold Crown engine. I think
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Yes, yeah.
And the door was pretty much the same as that. But somebody said that a lot of these came just the bonnet, and New Zealand people made the cabs.
I believe that's, yeah, this I'm pretty sure was like that as well, because the door has the wood on the side.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah, to match that body trim line, whereas I'm pretty sure the American cab had the steel pressed, line on it. Yeah.
What horsepower is this?
I can't tell you.
Okay,
I don't know. I don't know a lot about it, actually. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
it's
it's
starting
just-
to sort
yeah.
of come up amongst the ranks, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got it's Rio's own engine in it. They had the Gold Crown, you said it, and I think it was the green. Was it the green engine
yeah.
or something? Yeah. There was 2 types of engines you could get in them, 2 brands of engines.
Right.
So
There's
yeah.
room for a crank handle
Yep.
in there. And give it the old one too. What have we
Yeah.
got under the bonnet? But this is, you remember you picked up that bonnet before, and 1926 or whatever it was, and it lifted up like
Oh,
that.
yeah,
I thought, well,
piece,
that's
yeah.
Most of them, you sort of, they got this
got the butterfly
the
bonnet.
butterfly bonnet, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's that engine. It's
Yeah.
pretty solid.
I believe the other engine was a Continental.
Continental.
I think if I got my facts
They
right.
had
Yeah.
Continental. Waukesha was another one.
Yep. So it was a supplied engine, I suppose you call it. But Rio did make their own apparently, and this is a Rio engine apparently. So a good friend of mine, Paul, gave me this truck, and
Not Paul Gleason.
yes,
Oh,
Paul
good old
Gleason.
Paul.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Paul and Paiatua. Yeah,
Yeah.
he gave that to me, and I'm hoping to restore it, and I'm working on it at the moment, like all the other trucks I'm working on. So I'm just trying to source some wheels for it.
Okay.
The back wheels were buggered on it. Yeah.
So what is this 34? Did you say?
I think going from the split windscreen and that engine, I think this could be anywhere from about 36, 37, 38.
Oh, okay.
It's sort of later 30s, yeah.
There you go, folks. If you know where Mike could find a couple of wheels for a Rio, you might have some lying about in your shed.
Yeah.
Give me a call. There's my contact number. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll get hold of Mike and tell him to get hold of you. I think that's the best way to do it. But anyway, I was just looking at this little flute here.
Yeah.
And in my Studebaker, it actually goes the other way. So, you know, the air blows through and around your legs.
Yeah. Most of them do. I don't know why they go that way, but that's the way.
There's all the winds just sort of...
Would have got pretty hot in there, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this window slope here, I mean, that's just how they were.
Yep. Yeah, it's actually got a winder on the inside, I think. That one. Yep.
So it has.
Yep.
What's left of it? Yeah.
I don't know if it works, but yeah.
Come and have a look at the cab, folks. In the 1930s, a lot of the trucks had the fuel tank under the seat.
Yeah.
And in the 1930s, everybody and his dog smoked cigarettes.
Yeah.
And so there were matches and God knows what flying about and all that fuel there. So this has got 4 gears probably.
Yeah, I'd say 4 gears, yeah.
And the handbrake, and again the... See, that's just a little accelerator, isn't it? A little lever. But a nice, look at this, lovely glass, behind the glass, instruments, dials, the speedo. This is what I do, 40 miles an hour.
Yep, max, I reckon.
Yeah.
It was a Speedwagon, apparently they would do about 40, a little bit more than 30, yeah. Which apparently most of them done 30.
Yes.
But these will do a little bit more.
And leather seats.
Yeah, and even the seat even goes up. I don't know why. Put stuff behind it.
Your prodder, your cow prodder in behind it, or a rifle or something.
Got little wooden pockets made into it, and little storage pockets. Yeah, they thought of things with it.
And it's
A light, interior light. Yep.
glove box, ashtray, everything. Everything a truck driver could need.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot more modern than the other ones. That's for sure.
Excellent. Mike,
Yeah.
this looks like a Leyland something. I seem to remember the boys down in Apotiki, the Wheeler boys.
Yeah.
I think they've got a bus that looks like this.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but yeah, is that 2-axle or 3-axle?
Just the 2-axle
2-axle,
bus,
yeah. This is the 3-axle Leyland Cub. This one's 1936. This is another one that Paul gave me.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and it was originally a stock truck in Masterton, apparently. There's a story all on the side of it. Yeah, the history of it.
Triple deck crate in 1930.
Yeah,
Triple
there you go.
deck. Wow, that's flashed.
Yeah.
Well, it's just, at that time, you didn't see too many, dual axles at the back.
Yeah.
Being driven with through the one and into the next.
Sort of a bit like the GMC almost. Yeah.
But a lot of trucks just had they just put a lazy axle in the back just to take a bit more weight.
Yeah, I believe there wasn't many of these brought into the country. There's one in the Richardson's Museum that I know of, and this one, and I don't know whether there's any others.
Well, but just look at the this diff arrangement. It's just amazing. You can just sort of come over here, Linda, and look down the diff, or look even. That's a very complicated, I suppose, diff. Main shaft into that one, and then another shaft into the back one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mind you, well, I'm not sure what horsepower it would be, but probably 60, 80, something around about there.
Yeah, I honestly can't tell you myself.
I'm sure this will help, sort of getting up a few hills, a little bit extra drive.
Yep.
Perhaps, yeah.
Perhaps,
There was a man called Lockie Griffin, and Lockie Griffin had Governor's Bay Transport.
Yeah.
And he had Commas and Internationals and Leylands.
Yeah.
And he said to me, sort of winding up those hills at 2 miles an hour, and you get almost to the top and you have to go into first, and you just wound your way around the hills down there. It was just awful, he said. It just took forever.
Yeah.
And then he with his exhaust pipe, he cut his exhaust pipe off and put a little butterfly in there so he could cut the exhaust off, and he said that got him home 15 minutes earlier.
Just that, yeah.
Yeah, just with an exhaust brake. And he said, I never thought I'd see the day when trucks would be going up hills changing up.
Oh, yeah. I bet you said that, yeah. Yeah.
It's just amazing. Excellent.
Yeah, well, this was a stock truck. You can imagine how hard this thing worked.
Yeah, absolutely.
It
And
would
all
have
the
worked really
crap
hard.
coming down and running into it.
Yeah. And
good for the-
amazing it survived. It's very light in the, see where the axles come out?
Yes.
Very light there.
Amazing.
But, yeah, it would have done some work, I bet you.
I bet it did.
Oh, yeah.